back to Glue Gaming. I'm Justin, your host, and we're continuing with the Kerbal space program. We're starting out in mission control here, where we're choosing a couple of missions. We're going to try out a parachute and a solid booster. It seems like a really simple mission, but you'll soon find out. The parameters are really picky, and you have to do it just right or you fail. Let's go and see what it looks like. Let's see if we can accomplish these two. This one's pretty easy, the booster. All we have to do is fire this booster off on the ground and we'll get that money. This one, though, we have to have an altitude of 11,000 to 13,000 feet. I don't know what our... I think we can hit that. I think we did last time. So let's just try this rocket again. Collect some science. And... some more... Well, we're going to land right at the Space Center. Okay, everything's achieved there. Fire off the parachute so those scientists can get some data about how this works. Huh. I like how the parachute is now slowing us down. I hope we land on the land. We should. Go straight down there. Now we're dropping like a rock. I'm going to take the swing out of that by locking in SAS for a second and then stop it. Now we should drop straight down and not be bobbing around there on the end of the parachute. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. We'll go 3x. You probably remembered from another game I told it not to warn me about this. But larger ships, you can mess them up by using physics warp. So be careful, but a lot of times, especially these smaller ones, it's not too much of a problem. Now we'll blow up this engine most likely when we land. It should survive, and we can get a surface sample here. Crew report, and I think we can get a little money for planting a flag. Not money, but science points. What I like about this game is it's not, especially now, it's not just flying the ships and testing them. It's working toward bigger ships and having some objectives. Test out the parachute. I mean, these ones are really simple. I'll be excited to discover some of the more difficult ones. I know there's a land on the moon mission that's worth a lot of science and a lot of money. Okay. Oh, we blew up the parachute too. Well, no, I probably didn't really blow up. It just always goes away when you land. Okay, so get a crew report. Jeb, let's have you EVA, and plant the flag. No, I never did set up a flag. Oh well. And let's do an EVA report. Keep that data and take a surface sample. Then let's get back in the ship and recover the vessel. So for that little mission, plus 17.9 science, we recover 1,000, so a lot of it. And crew gets some more, Jeb gets some more reputation in the crew. So now let's go to the Science Center and look right here, basic rocketry. We've got our science, we've got 38. So doing pretty good for 2 little missions. Now 33, well, we're only going to get 1 out of this. So I think let's go for another engine and another solid booster. I'm not too interested in stability when we've got a lot more science points. I'll probably collect that one. The next one I want will most likely be the survivability. You have a more efficient engine here that's good for higher altitudes. Landing struts, really useful because you can recover more parts, and radial mount parachutes. But we don't have the 15 science for that, so that's for another time. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Okay. All we have is test the stack decoupler. And achieve an altitude of 22,000 meters. I think we can do both of those. So let's accept those. Oh, do we even have access to the stack decoupler? Oh, good. That would have been quite silly. Alright. So we're going to need fuel. We're going to need an engine. I'm going to go for the LVT-30 because it's a little cheaper. Decoupler. Oh, you know, let's look at our mission. We have to be at Kerbal, we have to be flying, we have to be 18,400 to 26,300, and our speed has to be 220 to 520. Alright. And the altitude, just achieve the altitude, that's easy. Alright, let's look at the staging and make sure this is set up right. Almost. Let's add another stage. Put the parachute on its own stage. And that should do it. Now I'm going to attempt to land this in water just so we can recover this top section. Save us some money. Because now we're getting... This is $3,000 to launch. We currently have $22,000. Still, the less we spend to achieve these goals, the more more we'll have for bigger rockets later. By the way, I'm really going to try to keep Jebediah alive as long as possible. Alright, so here's where I can show how easy it really isn't. The mission is quite simple, just to activate a decoupler. But that decoupler has to be activated at just the right altitude and just the right speed. So we ended up having to design a rocket that can get it to the right altitude and speed, and then in that right position we can operate the decoupler. It took 8 tries total, 7 tries just to get the right rocket, and then 1 more try to use that rocket the right way. Well, let's go back to plan A then. 3 solid fuel boosters. But I think it's worth it. We should make more than that. Okay. Alright, so we finally got the right rocket, and since I'm editing after, I know that this works. These engines are tricky, as you'll see, and this is what caused some of the troubles, failed attempts at this. I have to fire the next engine just in time to not waste the first engine, but to make sure I blow it up with the second. So that's what I'll be doing again when this comes up. You can watch as the fuel level goes down, and then there's just a little smidgen. That's when I fire the next engine. So here we go. Bam. Very nice. Now, the next one I have to fire a little sooner because it doesn't burn up this engine as quite as fast. So, we've got about 15 more seconds, and then I can fire that one off. Here we go. Makes me nervous though. And it didn't burn up, but it's okay because we're still coasting into position. And all the mission parameters are met. And there we go. We've got that mission in the bag. That was a lot harder than it seems. Got 2 missions, and now let's get a crew report from here. 3.5 science, and let's have Jeb do an EVA. I'm going to do an EVA report and get back inside. Awesome. Good job, Jebediah. Now let's see where we land. I want to attempt to save this. Oh, there's no way we'll save that engine. We're gonna hit land for sure. Unless we fly all the way over this continent. No, not unless our parachute slows us down. Well, that's alright. I'll speed this up a little bit. Be really careful though, using the warps. just over Kerbin's Highlands, it says. Well, let's try it. I'm going to turn off SAS and warp. Let us come back down. Okay, now it says we're too close. But I'm going to time warp it a little bit. Physics warp. Okay. Launch the chute. There's the first atmosphere. That'll slow us down a lot. Second. We weren't going that fast. Man, so close to landing in water. It would have saved us a lot of money. Well, before long we'll get landing struts and we'll be able to extend those and land these things and save these engines. Here we go, and 500 more feet. We'll get our... Oh, a little early. That's interesting. Apparently it's not fixed at 500 feet. There's some variables in there. Alright. So, nice gentle landing, but I bet we'll blow this engine up anyway. If I had just a tiny bit of fuel left, I could have burned it and slowed us down to save the engine. That would have been smart. I'll save that trick for the next video. Alright. Now let's have Jeb get out one more time and take a surface sample here. Yep, looks like dirt, but it's worth science. So let's get back in. Recover the vessel. And see what we've got. 34 science. Next. Command pod, the parachute, and some fuel. Alright. 932 funds from the recovered parts. And 24 reputation. Now we're sitting at 34,000. Not bad. 49 science. So let's see. We can get our landing struts. And you know, a radial decoupler would be awesome. So the nose cone and winglets, not that useful, but that's it for episode 2. In episode 3 we'll achieve our first orbit. And remember, if you're not glued, keep going.